The book of Numbers, chapter 20. Then came the children of Yashrael, even the whole assembly, into the desert of Sin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam, the older sister of Moses, died there, and was buried there. And there was no water for the assembly. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people were angry with Moses, and spoke, saying, Would be the Yahuwah, that we had died with our brethren, died before Yahuwah. And I'm assuming they're talking about in Joshua chapter 80, verse 37 to 39, when those same Israelites, at least those who survived that event, saw that Yahuwah destroyed thousands of Israelites because they refused to listen to Moses and Aaron when Yahuwah had told us to come out of sin, or to come out of wickedness, better said, come out of the Egyptian, Babylonian culture that we have become accustomed to, very similar to where things sit this very day. And before you go too far, and before I go too far, Yashrael, respectfully, I'll say to you, there is nothing new under the sun. And although we have been trained through institutional norms to reject anything that we, or those of us, and I should not say we, because it's not all of us, but those who have a sense of entitlement, have been trained to reject anything that is not tasteful, or better said, distasteful, under the arrogance that was a long time ago, or that was just in the Bible. That was, that does not apply to me. I don't believe that. That's what an entitlement mindset portrays itself as. So at the end of the day, they make a big assumption that somehow or another, because it was written thousands of years ago, that somehow or another it does not apply, when yet this book says, according to Yahuwah, in the book of Malachi, verse 3 and 6, he says, I am Yahuwah. Therefore, Israel, or better said, I am Yahuwah. I change not. Just as Solomon said in Proverbs, Ecclesiastes 1 and 8, Yasharel, meaning us, are not utterly destroyed. What he's saying, I could destroy every single one of you. And if you tempt me, I'll show you better than I can tell you. And so when you see here, they're referencing because they're embittered, because they don't have the conveniences that they want. They're attacking the same Moses who Yahuwah used to wake them up, to open up their eyes, for them to see that Yahuwah had heard their prayers. The only reason why he sent Moses. Granted them their prayers, taking them out of bondage, out of their enslavement, only to later on, again, because of entitlement, attack the man of Yahuwah, who Yahuwah had used to open up their eyes, because they didn't agree with him. So I just wanted to give you something to compare and contrast. And of course, as I stated before this, Yahuwah killed thousands of them. Talking about Israelites, not just the Egyptians were destroyed in Egypt. We all know that part of the story. The part of the story that was kept quiet in the church. But there were a lot of, people who knew the truth, but felt like, because the situation was not convenient for them, then at the end of the day, it doesn't apply to them. And Yahuwah didn't leave them behind. He destroyed their lives. He took their lives. In other words, he burned them right along with the rest of the wicked. So I just wanted to give you something to compare and contrast. Let me go on. Hallelujah. Again, the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 3 now. And the people were angry with Moses and said to him, we wish that Yahuwah, that we had died with our brethren in Egypt. You might as well say that. It says before Yahuwah, but they're referencing that. And why have you brought us up? Why have you brought up the assembly of Yahuwah into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die here? And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt again? See how they're referencing, brothers and sisters? Not in love with sin. Not in love with wickedness. Not in love with the abomination. And it's really a situation like this, brothers and sisters. Just because people hear the word or the word comes to us doesn't mean that, the people are doing it. A lot of times when you're out sharing with those who Elohim put in front of you, sometimes just in your everyday example of living the right way before Yahuwah, there will be people who will notice that, people who will identify that, some who will even claim to identify with that. I feel the same way. I'm the same way too. And that is the case until problems arise. That is the case until they're challenged. To put their faith into action. And then you'll see who they actually are. They see it too, but they're in denial because of an entitlement mentality and institutionalized norm that somehow everything just gonna work itself out. All I have to do is just keep on doing what I'm doing, regardless of whether or not there are any indicators that it's going to work itself out. So now they're in the valley of sin, so to speak. I'm sure this is not a, coincidental passage when he said the people assembled themselves in the desert of sin. Because where there is sin, there is no life. There's nothing good. There's nothing prosperous. There is no fertility. It's barrenness. But just like we studied on Shabbat, when we were reading and studying in the book of Exodus chapter 32, it says the people rose up to eat and drink and then to play. And Yahuwah came down and destroyed 3,000 of them down there. You can read about that, or you can go to the message from Shabbat. So here they are. There's no water. They're blaming Moses. They're blaming Aaron for the situation that they're in, but are taking no accountability that they were the ones who asked for deliverance. They were the ones who asked that Yahuwah answered their prayers. And because the situation did not work out according to their selfish needs and desires, now, as the proverb says, the dog returns to his vomit, Proverbs 26 and 11. Now they want to return back to Egypt, the very place that they prayed to come out of, the very place where they were slaughtering their children, enslaving them, robbing them of their wages, robbing them of liberty, and every other kind of misery that was being placed on them. But they quickly forgot it. When they had to sacrifice, when they had to take a stand and prove that they were trusting in Yahuwah with all their heart, Nah, brothers and sisters. Just like many today, they're like, nah, I don't have to prove nothing. I'm entitled. I'm entitled to do nothing. I'm entitled to believe that I'm not entitled, which is another way of saying I ain't doing anything. As though Yahuwah did not hear them. Just like today. This entitlement mentality, as though Yahuwah is just somewhere off on a long journey or somewhere taking a nap. You know, like Elijah told the prophets of Baal, 1 Kings chapter 18. But what they feel, or what many in Yahshua refuse to understand, Yahuwah is not Baal. Yahuwah is not Jesus. Yahuwah is not Yahushua. Yahuwah is not Muhammad or Allah or Buddha or your wicked behind. Although many in Yahshua see themselves as God. Why do I say that? Because they behave as though there is no accountability for their behavior. They behave as though, they're in control of their lives. Therefore, they can do whatever they want to do with it. And now, crap is about to hit the fan. And most of them have no clue. Because when rebellion comes, brothers and sisters, you better believe right behind rebellion is judgment. Let's continue to read about it. Again, the book of Numbers chapter 20, verse 3. And the people were angry with Moses and spoke, saying, we wish to Elohim, Yahuwah, that we had died when our brothers died before Yahuwah. How arrogant, pompous. Why have you brought us up the assembly of Yahuwah into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die here? Now they're blaming Moses. They know Yahuwah led them. The scripture said, a cloud by night, heat by night, or heat cloud by night, right? And a cloud by day. And they followed that cloud because that cloud kept them warm and it also kept them cool. They saw that rod that Moses had when Moses asked Yahuwah, what should we do because the enemy is in pursuit? They saw that the sea split 12 ways. I don't recall in here, Moses grabbed anybody by the collar and dragged them out of sin. That's why we shouldn't. Moses just said, this is where we're going. If you're coming, let's go. And these are the same people that have totally forgotten about all the things that Yahuwah did for them when they needed Yahuwah. And now because they're not getting what they want, now they're attacking the men of Yahuwah. In particular, Moses. Aaron, he just kind of, unfortunately, a tag along. And the reason I call Aaron a tag along, because Aaron continued to compromise himself. When things got tough, Aaron was the first one to back down. When things are all right, there was Aaron. You know that person that we know, brothers and sisters, when everything is good, they're there. Things get bad, they're gone. You ask them to do something, you ask them to go beyond their comfortability, they disappear on you. Or come up with some excuse, some justification of what they've been up to and what they've been doing. As though, again, Yahuwah is not seeing this. As though Yahuwah is on some journey. As though Yahuwah is taking a nap. But just like those prophets of Baal found out the hard way, when they lost their lives playing games with Elijah, Yah's prophet, history is repeating itself. Just as Solomon said it was. Nothing new under the sun. That's what that means. History repeats itself. And because of this entitlement mentality and behavior that's going on amongst Yasharel, and of course, this whole wicked earth, people are, getting up to eat and drink, and then going out to play. Never realizing that judgment is coming. You know, I'm going to show this clip in a little bit of this woman who's interviewing with Tucker Carlson, and she was a high government official, and she was a part of Sally Mae, Freddie Mac. These are these intellectual, what they call PACs, a group of think tank is a better word. They're part of a think tank where they get these Rhodes scholars and high level, thinkers, and they come together and they talk about, what's coming in the future. It's like some of that happens at the World Economic Forum that they have every year in Switzerland. And they get together, with all the leaders of the whole earth, not just America. And they all, talk about, what AI is going to do, what technology is going to do, what the population is going to look like in the next 5 years. And as you already know, they're planning to get it down to about 500 million. So she talks about what she heard and what she knows. I'm going to play it in a little bit. Stick around for a moment. Hallelujah. And I only bring what she's saying forward because, again, when you look around at everything that's going on, and now, and here it is, there are those who Yahuwah has brought before us, including myself, to warn, to teach, inform, educate. And what happens? As long as what is being taught is embraceable, in other words, it goes along with what many of you already believe, you don't have a problem. But the moment it interjects or confronts what you believe, then you're no different than these people right here. Now you're grumbling. Now you're mumbling. Now you're mocking. Now you're scoffing. Now you're running. And you think that somehow that you are going to run off this earth. Where? This earth has an ice wall around it. You're not escaping this earth. It has a ceiling that you can't penetrate. No man can. It has a depth down in the bottom. I can assure you, you don't want to go down there voluntarily. You'll be coming up real quick. There's sea monsters down there. And that's not an exaggeration. The book says Yahuwah created the sea monsters. It's like he created the beast. And all of you who, still believing in that New Testament foolishness, you don't think they're two-legged beasts walking around here. But Genesis says Yahuwah created the beast. He created the cattle. But then later on he said he created the beast. And then you believe in what you call the mark of the who? Beast. So you're very comfortable with saying whoever is going to distribute this particular mark, that you knew that is a beast and you know it's human. But at the same time, you're denying that there are entities or beasts upon this earth who look like human, but they're not. And they're controlling everything, including many of you, especially those of you with the rebellious mindset. Because the message doesn't fit with your ideology or your theology, or with your self-centeredness. Somehow or another, everybody's the problem except for you. So Yahuwah told me to get with you today and tell you about yourself. And remind you, you're not in control. You think you're in control, but you're not. You're in control of what you're doing, but ultimately you will pay a price. That's a thing called recompense. Recompense. You might want to think about that word, recompense. Recompense is another word that says you're not getting away with anything. Every single thing that you're doing is being written down. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, where you're from, your nationality, whether you're a heathen or not. It's all being documented. And we'll get to it later as to why. It's documented. The recompense part of it. But not yet. Let's go on. Again, now they're telling Moses and Aaron, I don't want to hear all this stuff. And you put us in this situation, and you made all these promises, and we haven't seen any of these promises. That sure sounds familiar to me. DFG, you said this was going to happen, that was going to happen, and y'all were going to do this, and y'all were going to do that. Everything I've ever told you that's coming, if it hadn't already came, it's coming, including this winter. Everything I've said. Because of the dread and the bitterness and so many, you left, you've been gone. Or you come in and go out, you come in and go out. So to you, it's just something to do when you're bored. You rather go over there and find these channels where people are just gonna tell you how to plant corn and grow cotton. Not a bad idea, because most of you are gonna end up on slave plantations anyway. So I guess learning how to homestead would be a good idea for you. It's just like our people trusted the heathens to go in there and work in their system and submit to them in their system. Ultimately in Egypt, they became their slaves. Studying that last night. Well, let's go to better opportunities. Let's go work in the heathen system. We can make more money. And he said, well, the only work we got is labor work. We'll do it. Beginning, they enticed them, brought them in, got them accustomed to it, got them dependent upon it, and then just changed the rules slowly bit by bit, slowly each day. And before you know it, instead of getting a paycheck, they got a whip on the back and chains on the hands. It's coming again. After what this woman has already indicated, but I've said it many times, the book has said it, desolation is coming. Because after rebellion comes judgment. But again, let me not get too far ahead of myself. But I just want to remind my brothers and sisters, this book says if y'all's messenger or any messenger says something is going to come to pass and it doesn't come to pass, y'all's going to kill him. I did say kill him. And the ones who say things on their own and didn't, without saying Yahuwah told them to say, Yah said don't even listen to them. They're burning in hell because they're just liars. See, ultimately, everybody's going to have to make their decision. These people are making their decision like so many people are making their decision today. Just blame, the leadership. I'm talking about the righteous leadership. Blame those of us who don't compromise for you, who don't placate your desire. Blame us. We're the problem. We're your enemy. Just like they're doing with Moses. But watch this. Let's pick on back up. Verse 4. Why have you brought us, the assembly of Yahuwah, into this wilderness that we and our cattle should die here? And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us into this evil place? It is, now here they're saying in the wilderness, and all of you folk that these heathen tell you, we going back to the wilderness, we're going to the wilderness. Well, in this wilderness, since you're emulating or claim that this is the second Exodus, and you're going into the wilderness, but it seems to me they weren't having a good time in this wilderness. They were having some real problems in this wilderness. But many of you are ear hustling to go back. What they're saying. Or go back to the plantation, at least sharecropping. Plant that corn, chop that cotton. Old man Zion, soon forgotten. Look away, look away. Look away to Dixieland. Because that's where many going to end up at. Them FEMA camps, labor camps. Not just here in America, all over this earth. They're all working together. This book teaches us in the book of Psalm chapter 85, 83, 1 through 5, say the whole earth is conspiring together, confederate together. Not conspiring, confederate. Conspiring is like they're just sneaking. They are doing things, but they're doing it openly now. They don't care about what you think. You're not important enough for them to care about what you think. You have no ambition, most of them, Yashrael. You don't have any drive. Whenever you get challenged, you run and hide. You're more interested in, eating and drinking and playing than studying and focusing and preparing. Instead of taking things, again, seriously, you want to play. And anytime someone comes and tell you something serious, you're dismissive of it. You blame them. You blame the teacher. Then all of a sudden you go on attack. Well, who are you to tell us what to do? That's what they're doing here. Why should we help you? You ain't doing nothing but reading the Bible to us. Well, I don't know why you pay your teachers in the school system then with your tax dollars. They ain't doing nothing but teaching your children mathematics and lies. They're heathens history. You have no problem with them being compensated. Why don't you just give them a school book and send them to school and let nobody be there? Just send them and give them a school book. Say, here's your math book. Go to school. See what happens when they come home. And you ask them, what did they learn? They're going to say nothing. Well, don't you have a Bible? Yeah. What you learn out of it? Nothing. What was the teacher? There wasn't one. Why? Because they don't want to hire any. Well, what's the point of you going to school? There isn't. And I bring that up too, because that's another part of the rebellion of Yasharel. When it comes down to supporting those of us who are teaching his word, you get in your attitude real fast. But you'll pay someone to teach your children because you won't do it. So you'll pay someone else to do it and you don't complain about that at all. But here, if I say, hey, matter of fact, Yahuwah said, and we talked about it in the book of Tobit, hey, help. Don't be envious for helping. And by the way, help the poor and the needy too. But don't forget about those who do the work of Yahuwah. And you say, no, I ain't doing no such thing. Because again, the Bible is free. Well, your textbooks are free too, according to you. But then again, you pay for the textbooks, right? How about those who are educating your children? Are you paying for them? Again, and if you are, why? But see, when you hate Yahuwah, it's easy to attack the righteous for the wicked. It's easy to support the wicked and not support the righteous. It's called rebellion, brothers and sisters. So let's continue on. There's some more to go here. Yahuwah lead, I'm going to follow. If you want to know the ways of Yahuwah, stick around. If you got better things to do, then obviously, how you say, have at it. Nobody's stopping you. Well, Yahuwah will be visiting you sooner than you think. But other than that, go on about it. Go on about your business. No lie like the lie you tell yourself. There's no accountability for your actions. If that makes you feel comfortable, then go. Let's go. But the rest of you, I'm glad you stayed. Go ahead. Numbers chapter 20 again, verse 5. And wherefore have we made, wherefore, now they're blaming Moses. Wherefore have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us in this evil place, and where there is no place of seed, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the assembly, and they fell on their faces and the glory of Yahuwah appeared unto them. You notice that Yahuwah only appeared to those two. Why didn't he appear to the rest of the assembly? Since all of these folk out there telling, well, I know I have a relationship with Yahuwah DFG and you can't tell me nothing. Well, it's kind of interesting. The only two that Yahuwah seems to have been listening to is Moses and Aaron. And if he doesn't change, explain yourself. Where you getting your doctrine from? Better yet, where you getting your idolatry from? Because you're surely not getting it from this book. So where is it coming from? Who you're actually praying to? Have you considered? Who's talking to you? Even worse, have you considered that? I'm not talking about who's talking to you on this channel. I'm talking about who's talking to you, who's persuading you. That's a better word. Who's persuading you? Because you better know that it's Yahuwah, and you won't know if it's Yahuwah, because Yahuwah has an infrastructure. He's not all over the place hopping the line. He has what we call a hierarchy, a chain of command. So who you're listening to, since you don't listen to no man? Could it all be so simple then? Only if you're simple-minded. What did Enoch said, Enoch 97:16, to the wise, the simple would not listen. Therefore, Yahuwah marked them for what? Damnation. You know what damnation means? That you have no chance of getting out of the mess that this earth has found itself in. You have zero chance of getting out of it. Verse 6. And Moses, verse 7. And Yahuwah spoke to Moses, saying, take the rod and gather the assembly together, you and Aaron your brother, and you speak unto that rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and you shall bring forth them water out of the rock, so you shall give the assembly and the beast drink. And Moses took the rod on behalf of Yahuwah, as he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, you rebels. That's an interesting word he used for the assembly of Yasharel. Old meek Moses, the meekest man that ever lived. For all of you, who say, well, if you just say it nicer, if you're too harsh, you too brash. Well, you're meek Moses. Calls your ancestors a bunch of rebels. In other words, he called them a bunch of witches. Because the book said rebellion has witchcraft. 1 Samuel 15:23. Read it for yourself. He said, all you care about is the things of man. You don't care nothing about the things of Yahuwah. That's what he's saying to him. As soon as you're inconvenienced, you turn your back on Yahuwah. You turn your back on his prophet, his watchman. In essence, he's saying, you're no more different than what Zechariah 11:5 says. The wicked slay the righteous, yet they hold themselves not accountable. And some of you don't understand your words. Life and death is in the power of your tongue. Proverbs 18:12. Your words are weapons of mass destruction. This book says, guard your tongue, because out of it comes the issues of life. Yet many in Yahshua say, I can say what I want. Nobody can tell me what to say. I know. Yahuwah knows. Therefore, you have a big problem. A very big problem. Again, if life and death is in the power of the tongue, maybe you ought to consider what you're saying, but you won't. Many won't. A righteous few will. We'll get there. But again, all these folk you love, your prepper channel, your watchman channel, your community channel, your gossip channels, your shay, whatever you over listening to, you enjoying that because there's no accountability. Nobody's challenging you, right? They're just going to tell you how to fix it. Let me go find a how to fix it channel. Let me go find a channel that's going to tell me just wait on Yahuwah and he going to send, a cruise ship, and the cruise ship going to have corn chips and potato chips, and Lebanon going to build it, and we going to have all this gold and all this money when we get to the wilderness, just like our ancestors did the first Exodus. It seems like to me, not only were they creating hell, they were catching hell. I don't know, but I know where you get it from. You get it out of that wicked New Testament. The woman, the bride, and her children going into the wilderness, right? Revelation 12:4, that silly, stupid foolishness. When Yah decided that he was going to wake us up in the last day, he picked the right man. Because you're not clever enough to misguide me. And I love my brothers and sisters enough to tell them the truth, whether you listen or not. Moses was the same way. Me and Moses have a lot of similar characteristics. What I mean by that, caring too much. Or better said, caring about the wrong people and mixing the wrong people into the group of the few righteous people. What did Ezra chapter 4:8 said? The world was made for many, but only a few shall be saved. See, I'm learning now through the love of Yahuwah to bring forth to me counsel and reminded me to let that go. You're pouring money in bags with holes in it. The people rise up to eat and drink and play. They don't really want, they want your time. They want your information. They want your knowledge. And they'll waste it if you let them. They'll take advantage of it if you let them. And they're not going to pour anything. They're not going to support you. You're going to give their resources to you, no way. But they will tell you, I need you to do this and I need you to do that. And when you don't do it, they're going to shake their fist at you. But all you got to do is go back and say, well, have they even given a penny to help do to any of this work? And you're going to find out real fast they haven't done anything. And justify it. Why should I if the Bible is free? Then why you came over here asking questions? Sounds like rebellion to me. You're looking for something for nothing. And I call it rebellion because Yahuwah calls it rebellion. Put your hand here. Let's go to the book of Tobit. The message last Shabbat was, the name of Yahuwah is cleaning house. You know what I'm saying? Letting go the past. So this is a little house cleaning. Because I can assure you, some of you are going to leave after this. If you haven't, your body got your finger right there ready to press that button. Well, save yourself a moment. Just press it. If that's what you feel like you need to do. But I can assure you, you're not changing this truth. So you can run, you can hide, you can scoff, you can say whatever you want to say. But it's not going to change a single thing. Just going to get you where you're going a whole lot faster than you might know. And you can read about where you're going in the book of Isaiah. Start reading that. Go to Isaiah chapter 5. Start reading that verse 12. Okay? I'll lead the witness. I'm going to lead the witness so you'll know where you're on your way to. Just go over there and read it when you get a chance. Okay? Since you know the word anyway, you don't need nobody to teach you anything, right? So you're over here, but you're not over here to learn anything, and you feel there's no obligation to be here. There's no obligation to me, but I should be obligated to you. Seriously? Then that'd make me just as foolish as you are. And that won't work for me. That's not Yah's plan. That's your plan. I'm sticking with Yah's plan. But look at Tobit chapter 4, verse 6 says, "For if you deal truly, your doing shall prosperously succeed to you. If you behave truly, with sincerity, your doing shall prosper you." And it's going to happen to all who live that way. Give alms. That means your resources. Give alms of your substance. And when you give alms, let not your eye be envious. Why would you be envious if you're giving? Think about it. Because Yahuwah is telling you, you don't look at who Yah is blessing and be envy of them. And that's what's going on in Yahshua. Well, look at you. You got more than me. That's called envy. He said, we should never be looking at what one has and determine if we're going to support that or not. Because we're not supporting them. We're following Yahuwah's commandments. We're being obedient. Because there's reciprocity to it. Look what it says. Don't be envious. And let not your eye be envious. Picking it back up. Neither turn your face. It says neither, so it's a separation. He said, don't be envious to give those who Yah is blessing. Don't be envious to give to them. Because they're just doing the work of Yah. And they're being recompensed for the work that they're doing. And you can believe this. If you won't do it, Yah find somebody better than you. And I guarantee you they will. And their lives will be the better for it, and yours won't. And here's why I say so. Look at this part. Turn not your face from any poor, talking about in Israel, who's doing what is right, and the face of Elohim shall not be turned away from you. So when you turn your face away from doing what is right, when it comes down to an instant substance, then y'all say, okay, then fine. Then I'm going to turn my face from you. Because after all, you need substance too. He goes on to say, and if you have substance, give according to what you have. If you have abundance. Everybody has something. He said, if you have abundance, give accordingly. And if you have a little, be not afraid to give according to the little. For you lay up a good treasure for who? The person you gave it to? Not what this says. It says you lay up a good treasure for yourself. But see, when rebellion kicks in, you ain't going to listen. You're going to do what you want to do. Or you're going to have what they call a pity party. Oh, woe is me. Doom, despair, and agony on me. I haven't said that one in a while. Deep, dark depression, expressive misery. If it wasn't for bad luck, you'll say. You had no luck at all, you say. Doom, despair, and agony on you, you say. Because it ain't on me. Because it goes on to say, for you lay up a good treasure for yourself when you give, against the day of your own need. It's like having money in the bank. So if you need it, it'll be there for you. Verse 10 says, because that, look at it, and it said, because that alms do deliver from debt. It said alms. You say Jesus, or Yahweh. Some of you saying Yahuwah. Well, Yahuwah is saying giving delivers you from debt. How you going to deal with that? And if you try to twist this and say it means something else, then you might want to go read Deuteronomy 25 and 4, where it says, don't muzzle the mouth of the ox that treaded the corn or the grain. Mean, if you're getting help, you're supposed to be helping. So, and all of you who are doing or helping with Yah's work, you know, these most recent ones, you know, again, you know, Brother Cameron, Brother Yancey, Sister, you know, Ellis, said Brother Taylor, Sister Katrina, Sister Angelina. There's a few of you. And Yah is going to bless you for what you're doing. And for the rest, I guess you continue on doing what you're doing and keep on getting what you're getting. Enjoy yourself. And I'm not talking about you others who are always there consistently helping and giving. Brother Starks, I didn't mention you, I apologize. Brother Starks. I'm here to help and remind you and teaching you the right way. Is that not what Enoch taught us, brothers and sisters? Who are those who want to learn the way of Yahuwah? And then many of you, when you hear the way of Yahuwah, because it does not fit your religiosity, your ideology, then you start to rebel. And your rebellion is not going to fix anything. You're just going to find yourself in the day of need, in the time of necessity. You're going to find out Yahuwah's not going to come and rescue you. See, and again, I still remember what I said earlier about this. I'm going to show this link in a moment. But see, death and desolation and destruction is coming. And it doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It does not matter, brothers and sisters. It's written in the book. Yah sent forth his prophets to warn the people. Not to beat you up, not to wear you down, not to ground you to powder. No, to warn you. Then let you decide what you think Yahuwah is saying. Better said, not think. Let you decide whether or not you're going to listen. Because you can't be between two opinions. It's either you're going to do what Yahuwah says or you're going to do what you want to do. And unless you think you're greater than Yahuwah, then you ought to already know which one you should be choosing. But just so it's in your remembrance, Yah has sent men like myself to come. Daughters of Zion too. There's some of them out there. I'm not talking about, shepherds. I'm talking about women of knowledge and women of wisdom. Women who know how to get in where they fit in. And they're very good at what they do. I was studying in Joshua last night about Zipporah and how she helped Moses for 10 years. She helped Moses while he was in prison. Fed him every day. Nobody knew she was feeding him. He would have been long dead had Zipporah had not been there helping him. She even helped him get out of prison. And when he got out of prison, he was worshiping Yahuwah. And the same rod that was in Moses' hand at the sea, the same rod that Yahuwah is telling Moses, because we're going back there, to use to hit that rock. When Moses came out of the dungeon and praising Yahuwah the whole time, I'm sure winking over there at Zipporah, saying, baby, you wait till I get my hands on you. He looked over there. He saw sapphire in the garden and went over there and said, what is that? Guess what it was? It was that rod. We call it the Torah today, but it was that rod. And Moses went over there and picked it up, and no man had ever been able to pick that rod up since it was stolen from Joseph by the Midianites. When Joseph died, they stole the rod. The same rod that went back to Noah, same rod that went back to Adam that he was to till the land with when he was placed out of the garden. And he pulled it up, and no other man could do it because Yah had assigned it to him. This is what jealousy and envy comes in, because Yahuwah has set aside myself, for example, and there are many envy and jealous of it. So you come, or you scoff, and or you just do nothing, which is the same thing. You say, I ain't doing anything. You can teach till it's ground to powder, DFG, and I'm still not going to do anything to help. And y'all say, yeah, okay. But your day is going to come, because it says right here. It says again, because verse 10, because that the arms do deliver from death, and you don't have to get confused what arms is. It's whatever you consider resources that you live off of. Let these idiots come up. Well, back then it was this. No, it was what it was whenever time they were in. Whatever it was that they used to survive with, that's what arms consisted of. So if it's currency today, then it's currency. So unless you living out in the field somewhere and you deposit cabbage and onions into your bank account, then you shouldn't be talking about giving nobody no cabbage and onions. Unless you have some kind of farmer's market. And you're inviting them to say, come over to the farmer's market. I got a whole bag of vegetables and other things for you. Don't bring no money. You won't need any. Otherwise, what are you talking about? Verse 11. For alms is a good gift to all that give it in the sight of Yahuwah. That concludes that matter. Let us continue on here, brothers and sisters. Back to the book of Numbers 20. Now Moses has the rock. He has the rod. Moses, let's go pick up verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand with the rod that I just mentioned, that only Moses could get out of the ground because Yah had given that rod to Moses. It had been safe put away for the whole, 10, 20, 30 years. It was set aside. And the only man that Yah was giving it to was Moses. And many men had tried to pull that rod out the ground and couldn't. But Moses saw it. He took it out, and Zipporah's father had said this thing. Any man who took that rod out of that ground, his reward to that man, because he understood reciprocity, even though he was wicked. He understood reciprocity. And you know what he did? He said, any man pull that rod out, I'm giving them my fine, beautiful daughter, Zipporah, with a beautiful heart. That's how Zipporah ended up with Moses. And you can read that in Genesis. She was his gift. She was his reward. She had shown herself to be faithful, loyal, compassionate, helpful, resilient, strong. Everybody else had given up, not Zipporah. Everybody else had forgotten about the man of Yah, not Zipporah. And look what Yah blessed her with. She became the mother of Moses' children. How blessed could that be? And her name is written in the book. Can't get any better than that. So you righteous daughters of Zion, look up. Your redemption is near. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Verse 11, and Moses lifted up his hand with the rod, and he smote the rock twice. He told him to speak to it. And the water came out abundantly. Even when you get it wrong, if you're Yah's messenger, you can still get it right. Y'all adapt it for you, he'll adjust it, but you're going to be accountable. He'll never leave you hanging, but you can miss your blessing by listening to rebellious people, by not being able to cut the ties, moving on, hanging around too long, staying too long. Almost what they're saying, too nice for your own good, too considerate for your own good. I'm talking about those who are not worthy of your consideration. So the assembly drank, and the beasts also. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moses and Aaron. He said, because you believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Yashua, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I had given them. You heard that, brothers and sisters? They all got cursed. Not just Moses, all of them. The rebellious ones too. Yeah, they got their little water, and their beasts got what they needed, but that's all they were going to get. But that land of milk and honey that was promised to them in the beginning, they forfeited that because why? Selfishness. No commitment, no reward, no sacrifice, no benefit. Those saying beggars can't be choosy. And when you're a beggar, you end up getting garbage, the trash, the throwaway. You know, when you're putting your trust in, in man and things instead of putting your trust in Yahuwah. Or you want to debate everything and argue everything. You got to be right, and everything has to be explained to you. Everything has to be laid out on the table for you, like a buffet. See, when your heart is righteous before Yahuwah, only thing you would ask is, show me the way. I'll take it from there. But not Yashua, not many of Yashua. We want you to do it all from pillar to post. You do everything, and then everything we ask you to do after you've done everything. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, because that happens to me all the time. Thousands of video plus out there. Hundreds on one, thousands on the other, over 1,000. And yet people will still come to me and tell me, won't you go research it? Can you go get this or go get that for me? I'm like, do I look like your gopher? Do I look like I'm someone that you should be telling me what to do because you don't want to take the time to do it? So I'm just supposed to respond to your every need. Ask yourself the question, when have you responded to mine? Where's your reciprocity? Seems to me you want to reap when you haven't sown anything. And by the standard of Yahuwah, that makes you wicked. So their rebellion caused all of them, including Aaron. Because if you read further on, it says Yah stripped Aaron of his clothing and everything. You read on further down, he said he dealt with Aaron because Aaron was right there, and Aaron again did not step up and do what he was supposed to do. That's the backstory. He was always a day late and $1 short. He was a flip-flopper. When things were good, he was in. Things got bad, he ran. That's his backstory. It's many of your backstories. When accountability came, Aaron was the first one to back down. And him and Miriam accused Moses of being in violation of the Torah for marrying that Cushite queen, Ethiopian. When Yah judged him, Aaron didn't say, oh, help Miriam. Aaron didn't open up his mouth. It was Moses who said, help Miriam. It was Moses who said, Yahuwah, don't put this on her. Forgive her. Give her mercy. Not Aaron. Aaron said right there. Hey, Miriam was both of their sister. Miriam was the sister of Moses, and Miriam was the sister of Aaron. Aaron didn't open up his mouth. When the people went into rebellion, when Moses was up getting, being taught the commandments and the Torah of Yahuwah, Aaron was down there with the people. And the people told Aaron, hey, we want to go back to Egypt, make us a calf, make us an idol. So Aaron did it. And then when Moses came down and said, what happened? Aaron, oh, the people did it. We said, what do you mean the people did it? You were supposed to be in charge. You said, well, I really just got the gold and put it in the fire and a calf jumped out of there. That's what Aaron said. Again, no accountability. No personal accountability. And here again, he's supposed to be Moses' right-hand man. Why are you going to let if you're my right-hand man, that means you're supposed to have my back. You're supposed to, if you see me about to err, you're supposed to grab me and say, no, you can't do that, elder. No, you can't do that, watchman. No, you're better than that. No. If anybody going to go, let me go, not you. We need you too much. Not Aaron. He just stood there and watched it. Like he wasn't going to be held accountable because he didn't do it. Oh, you're accountable. For him to know to do good and do it to not, to him is sin. And there are many in Yahshua this very day could do good and you're not doing it. And so Yah is saying, yeah, in your day of necessity, expect absolutely nothing. Just like you always do. Don't change. And then Yah said, then fine, I don't change either. That's Malachi 3 and 6. The day of desolation is coming, whether you like it or not, brothers and sisters. It's prophesied to happen. It's already happening. You can't tell. Now we're in the middle of May in New England, and there are mornings where you still talk about 30, 40 degrees outside. Weather patterns going to the Middle East look like, there's two different, it's almost like cyclones. Me and one of the brothers were talking about it yesterday. I don't mean this in a perverted way. Ain't nothing perverted about a woman's breast. Anyway, it looks like a breast. This pattern that's going through the United States, like two breasts. There's some weather pattern. They don't even know what to call it. They're making up names to call everything now. They don't know what to call it. They really think that somehow or another, going to cryptocurrency or some man, Trump, Putin, is going to get it all together. Like, that somehow or another BRICS is just going to stop being BRICS and just make a deal. They're going to make a deal. All Trump got to do is keep putting the tariffs on them that you paying for, by the way. All he got to do is put pressure on them and they're going to make a deal. It might take 2 years while you starve to death and they hiding underground. While you up above ground, Yasharel, and the rest of these idiot heathens, starving to death, eating each other, they down there making a deal, waiting for the deal to come to pass. But nobody's talking about that. I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it because Yahuwah put it on my heart to tell you about it. But in the process of telling you about it, he said, tell you about you too, about your behavior. Because y'all say, I'm not putting up with this rebellion. The book says, touch not my anointing and do my prophet no harm. What part of that you don't understand, Mrs. and Mr. Rebellion? Oh, you not Yah's prophet? Yeah, of course that's what you're going to say. Rebellious. So they told them Moses. Aaron, who sent y'all? How we know y'all? Well, Yah said, I'm going to show you. But see, when y'all start to show, you ain't going to be no, okay, you can stop now. You ain't going to stop. Hell has enlarged itself for you. Made some extra room Got some more rooms in hell end for you to enter. Like, hotel rooms in, rest ends, It says enlarge yourself. For Yasharel, to be clear. Let's go to the book. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let's see here. See if I can get this going real fast. Hallelujah. Now listen to this. Fair use. This is for educational purposes. YouTube. I don't gain anything from this. The few who help, they help out of the purity of their heart, and ain't got nothing to do with this video. This audio, because there ain't no video. So fair use. But it's only be about a minute and a half. But listen to what this woman is saying, brothers and sisters. Now remember, this woman knows. She's a high government official. I'm gonna turn this up so you can hear it. I hope it's not too loud for you. But it's only gonna be a couple of minutes. So let's check this out.
And one of the things I've looked at in the process of looking at where all this money is going is the underground base and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
Yes. So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more. So
in the United States?
In the United States, on all over the world. But from 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Slayer Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. And then we systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess. This is totally a guess of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States.
Ocean?
And our estimate was 170 with a transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
The purpose, if you thought you were going to get a near extinction event.
Extinction?
So there, to me, there are two purposes. You have so many activities going on that you need to keep secret, that you're basically building the capacity to, for example, if you're doing a secret space program, you need to platform it from, things that can't be seen. But I think if you're worried about a near extinction event, that's...
So I know nothing about this other than my only window into it. I knew a contractor who worked on one in Washington, in the city of Washington, D.C.
Right.
And I remember him telling me about a power box, like a transformer box on Constitution Avenue that he told me, because he worked on it personally, was actually the exit, the egress from White House. That was kind of by vehicle. I thought that was, I was like, really? He goes, oh yeah, no, I installed it, I know. And I thought, well, that's kind of crazy that in the middle of this big city where I was on Constitution Avenue every day, that you could build something like that without me knowing it. Under the VP's house at the Naval Observatory, same thing. I think most people know that. Next to my brother's house on Macomb Street in D.C. But that's, I always thought that was like preparation for nuclear war. Like, I didn't really think about it that much.
Some of it is, yeah. But it's preparation for catastrophe.
So, but you think that there are...
Stop it right there. She says preparation for catastrophe. That's what she said. A near extinct event's coming. That's what all these bunkers, that's what these movies, Leave the World Behind, is about, brothers and sisters. The Walking Dead, zombies, cannibals. Werewolf. All those werewolf movies, if you remember early on in the early 2000s. These young teens, teenagers, remember they were wolves. Werewolves. I can't think of the name of the series. And yet people planning, well, I know I'm not worrying about anything because, Yahuwah's going to protect me. Yeah? Well, it seems like everybody else is worrying. I know what said. I know what Tobit said about if you do what's right before Yahuwah. He said that you won't die. But just to tie it into the book, let's go over to the book of Isaiah. And remember what they're telling you, brother, sisters, they're telling us what's coming now. While you sitting over there planning your future, okay, just understand, they're planning your destruction. You planning your future, and they're planning your extinction. The book of Isaiah, chapter 6, reads, I'll start reading at verse 7. And then he laid his hand upon my mouth. This is Isaiah talking about the angel that had come to him, just like the angels coming to me and warning me to warn us. Some angels are talking to some of you. Some of you daughters of Zion, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yahuwah has told you something was coming for you, and it's showing up now. And I'm talking about a good thing, not a bad thing. Others, he's warning you, if you don't repent, you're going to be out there running 7 to 1, trying to just find somebody just to keep these vultures from ravishing you, or at least continually ravishing you. But we're not going to talk about Isaiah 4 and 1 right now. We're not going to talk about Isaiah 3. We're going to talk about Isaiah 6 in reference to what you just heard these two individuals talking about. Book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 7. And he laid upon my mouth and said, Lo, this has touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away, and your sin has been purged. So don't let anybody tell you we all sin and sinners. That's foolishness. When repentance and contrition is in play, Yah will remove any type of sin. And then you'll hear his voice. Then he will hear your prayers. Not until. And it's not going to happen if you're in rebellion. And rebellion is doing what you want to do because that's how you feel about it. Not based off with the word, how you feel. Excuse me, it's early, my stomach is, digesting itself. So hey. All those seekers going to get revealed. Verse 6 and 8. Chapter 6, verse 8. Also I heard the voice of Yahuwah saying, whom will I send? Who will go for the people? Then said I, here I am, send me. That's where we come into play. Yah's prophets. His watchmen. And he said, go and tell this people, which is what I'm doing and been doing now for years, that you hear indeed, but you understand not, because you were in rebellion. And you see indeed, but you perceive not, because you in a state of vanity, a lust, selfishness. All about you. When it's supposed to be all about Yahuwah. Since you say you love him with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength, right? That means you're going to trust in him with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding. All your ways you're going to acknowledge him, and you're going to listen to him, better said to his messengers, right? But yet, because nobody is watching you, this is the eye thing again. What he said? You're seeing, but you perceive not. You see what's going on, but you don't even understand it. You hear these people talking about underground bunkers because they know an extinction event, brothers and sisters, means that something so catastrophic, no one survives, or almost nobody. And they're saying they got them all over the world, these underground bases, underground cities. So all these millions and trillions of dollars that they're sending over to the Ukraine, that's not going to Ukraine, brothers. So they're building underground over there because they know what's going to happen over here in the so-called Americas. What do you think they were doing? Why do you think all the Congress approved it every single time? That's their houses they're building underground. They're going to make sure they're safe with their children. What did Moses say? The people rose up to eat and drink and then to play. Getting naked all the time. All they care about is showing their, ASSs. Look how much of my body I can expose. So I can be validated. That's all I got. I don't have nothing else going for me. Look at me, bro. Look at my pants. Look at my butt. I'm a straight man, but I'm going to walk around with my pants down so people can see my behind. Oh, men can see it too. But I'm masculine. I can't run down the street unless I'm holding my pants up. But I got a gun. I'll shoot you if you look at me funny. Yeah, right. It's called rebellion. Oh, and by the way, I don't hear nothing about nobody. I don't hear nothing about no Yahuwah. I'm a Christian. Jesus got me. He got you all right. Right where he wants you. Right in the bullseye of Yahuwah's judgment. But look what it says here. Now think of this in relation to what I just shared with you off this, fair use message. There ain't no problem here. Educational purposes. The heathens knows what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. You might not know. But the book knows. See, if you were with us Wednesday nights and you're listening to these messages or share them, then more would know if you thumb them up. But most of you won't. I know it's rebellion again. You're too busy to thumb up the video. I get it. You're too busy. You can't stop and thumb it up. You got other things to do. I'll get to it, Elder. But I'm working right now. I'm going to get to it later. I'll get to it. I got to make some money. But just remember, when you say it to me, you're saying it to Yahuwah, because he hears you. But look what verse 10 says. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 10 says, make the heart of this people fat. You know what that means? It's make them reprobate. Make them not even hear the truth. And this is exactly why Yahuwah is saying to many of us, leave these people behind. These people are not, commissioned to go where you all are going, remnant. Y'all say, I didn't commission them to go, so why are you trying to drag them with you? Let them go. Hell, they won't even go research anything on their own. They want you to research. They want you to do all the work and do all the research. And by the way, if you ask them to help, they know what they're going to do. No, you shouldn't be asking anybody to help you. You doing the work of Yah. I sure am. And Yah said you're supposed to be helping. So you go put your finger in Yah. Get your finger out my face and go punch your finger at Yahuwah. Because he's the one said you're supposed to be. You are supposed to be doing it. But get your hand out my face before I chop it off. But Yah is saying, brothers and sisters, leave them be. Just leave them be. Just shut up to me. Don't respond. Just let them be. They know so much. They smart already. Why they asking you questions anyway? If you already know, why you here? I'm here to teach those who want to know. I'm not here to teach those who already know. If you already know, then go on about your business. Go live your life. But if you're here, you're going to have to get engaged. I ain't talking about marriage. I'm talking about engaging, participating, showing resolve, showing fruit. Jeremiah said, where are your fruit? What are you doing to help? And truth be told, I only know one person who I believe that Yah has excused, because this man is in a third world country and the whole damn country is in are pagans except for him. Yet this man shows up on every single video, thumbing up your messages, thumbing up every single time and commenting. His name is Brother Davison. Now, if you're in Papua New Guinea, a third world country, where there's zero opportunity to get hold of resource, Then why aren't you at least doing that? But you're just making up excuses. Israel loved to make up excuses. Israel loved to point the finger at someone else. Again, what did Zechariah say? They love to slay the wicked, but they hold themselves not accountable. It ain't my fault that we kill each other for just looking. It ain't my fault that we betray each other because we like what the heathens have to offer. But it is. Whether you accept responsibility or not, you will be held accountable. The book says so. Your dead necessity, y'all say he's going to let you die. While they over there hiding in all these underground cities that you finance with your tax dollars. When that darkness, that moon turned to blood, the sun doesn't no longer give us light. Y'all say, ain't going to be nothing there for you but this. Watch. He says, and make this heart of these people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and return. Return where? Return where? Because see, this book is saying some of you got some returning to do. And the damn sure ain't talking about no damn religions. You ain't left that. Half of you, most of you out there practicing one of the heathen holidays, Mother's Day yesterday. The Goddess Day, Mother Goddess foolishness. Mary worshiping. Semiramis by another name. So return where? What do you think he's saying return to? To me, I'm going to tell you what it says. I'm going to make it easier. He's talking about repent, repent, repent. Seek Yah's forgiveness and turn back to his Torah, Yasharel. Accept this. Watch this. And be healed. That part will come with your repentance. But this part, verse 11. Then said I, Yahuwah, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant. A world extinction event. Again, a world extinction event. Again, a world extinction event, brothers and sisters. The book is prophesying that when man rebels as they are rebelling now, full of idolatry and paganism, perversion and profanity, judgment is coming. When abomination is the rule of the day and the Torah is dismissed, Yah's word, you had better believe consequences are coming. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. For all of you all that following, just anybody who's got something to say, you're following and you're getting twisted and blowing all in the wind. You're like a piece of a plastic bag on a windy day. You're just all over the place. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to end up right with the rest of them in the desolation. Following people because they make you feel better about yourself. But people with no true answers. They got all the theology in the world. Well, Antiochus, he was the Grecian and he was the father of Popeye the Sailor Man. And you're going, woo-hoo! Popeye ain't gonna save you. Nor the spinach. He ate. Look what it says, 11. Then said I, Yahuwah, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitants. That means people. And the houses without a man. And the land be utterly desolate. Desolate means they're gone. That's why they're building all the underground cities, brothers and sisters. That's why they've been stealing money, like the woman said, from like 21, like when you were over there, being quarantined for COVID. They were 5G in the whole earth and building bunkers underground. So you couldn't see them because you were inside. Told you stay home. So you couldn't see what they were doing. But some of us, essential workers, we went out there, we noticed. Because Yah opened our eyes. So he didn't close our eyes, he opened my eyes. So I could see, so I can come back in 2025 and tell you what I saw. And bring to you this information. To remind you that it's time for redemption. Time for you to return back to Yahuwah. Holy, fully, and pure obedience, or deal with the consequences. All your little backdoor traps and your little sneaky ways. Dressing inappropriately, going to work. Dressing inappropriately out in these streets. Even though you know better. And every excuse. Well, you know. Yeah. Everybody knows what you know. Because everybody's doing what you're doing. So we don't have to think hard to figure out what you're doing. It's obvious to us. But there's a difference between us, brothers and sisters. This one, watch this. He says the houses will be without a man. Now that should make every daughter of Zion, that should make your ears go up. Your ears should perk up, your head should go up. Wait a minute, what did he say? The city's going to be wasted, the house is going to be without a man? I wonder why he put that in here. Pretty obvious. And many of our sisters have been sold this lie. You don't need a man. What a fool they've made out of some of you. Maybe you should have read this before you start talking about, I don't want nobody but me and my dog. Or cat. But in rebellion, you're not going to change. It doesn't matter, right? It does not matter. That's why he said, eyes to see, ears to hear, but you ain't going to see because you're not going to perceive it. Even though I just gave you all this information, you're still not going to get it. You're still not going to embrace it. Many of them, brothers, this is a surprise. Like old Garmer Power. Surprise, surprise, surprise. In other words, saying how foolish. With all this knowledge, all this information coming, these many teachings on both channels, Wednesday night studies, Shabbat messages, and for the most part, it's just going in one ear, out the other. You got ears to hear, but can't hear. Eyes to see, but you cannot perceive. You have no idea how important this information is you're hearing. Because you've been so inundated with information, you just put everybody at the same level. Irrelevant. And because you make everybody irrelevant, you have become irrelevant before Yahuwah. You get the most valuable participation irrelevancy award. Does nothing matter to you but yourself. That's what it means. Eyes to hear. Eyes to see, ears to hear. And you can't hear or perceive. You don't understand the danger that you're in. So he said, let me make it crystal clear. And I'm going to send my messenger to tell you. Just like Moses, you will rebel, but you won't be able to say you weren't warned. And just like they were all destroyed in that wilderness, they're going to get destroyed in this wilderness they think they're running to. So they don't tell you that part. They tell you the part going into the wilderness, brothers and sisters, like it was a safe haven. No, they were destroyed. Everybody went in that wilderness, died in the wilderness, except for Joshua and Caleb and anyone that was under 20 years old. And I suspect some of them died too because they were part of the rebellion when they got older. I'm sure they were part of, they got up to eat and, drink and then later on to play. Got naked. Say the houses were without a man and the land was utterly desolate. Verse 12. And Yahuwah removed the men far away, and there was a great forsaking in the midst of the land. You know what a great forsaking is, brothers and sisters? A great forsaking, that's misery. That's misery beyond your comprehension. That's suffering. In other words, Yahuwah said, I'm going to forsake you, I'm going to reject you, and I'm going to leave you to these wolves and these ravages and these dogs and these vampires and these cannibals and these rapists and these pedophiles and these human traffickers and these demons and their demon seed. And I'm not going to protect you from them. Reciprocity. You didn't care when you could have, and now y'all say, I'm not going to care when you come calling on me. Oh yeah, that's in this book. Look at this. I'm coming right back. We almost done. But I know, I'm not going to be quiet on that. I don't know what you think. I'll let you think for yourself. My job is just to bring you the word. Look at the book of Proverbs says right here. Proverbs chapter 1. Look, it says, verse 20, 25. He said, but you have set your mind against the counsel that you're getting, against the watchman, against the prophet. I'm talking about Yah's prophet. He said, you have decided to ignore the counsel, and with none of my reproof you would accept this truth. I will also laugh at your calamity, and I will mock you when your fear comes. And when your fear comes as a desolation, and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you, then you shall call upon me, and I will not answer. You shall seek me early, but you shall not find me. Why? Because you hated knowledge, and you chose not to fear the word of Yahuwah. And this is exactly what he's saying right here. It says again, verse 12. And Yahuwah removed the men far away, and there was a great forsaking in the midst of the land. Matter of fact, look at verse 11. Then Yahuwah said, how long? Then I said to Yahuwah, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, houses without man, land utterly desolate. And Yahuwah have removed men far away, and there will be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. Yet, now get this part. Yet in it shall a tent, in it shall return, and shall be eaten as a tell tree or as an oak, whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof, except for a tenth of us. The rest are going to be destroyed. And who is that tent? Those of us who hear this word, those of us who obey this word, those of us who have gotten ourselves out the way and say whatever Yahuwah says, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not questioning him. I'm not going to question his messenger. I'm not going to question his book. A tent. That's 90% destroyed of 100. See, for those of us, he said, our substance will be in us. Our forsakenness is going to be, we're not going to be there. We're going to have to see this stuff. So we're going to feel some kind of way, but we're going to be protected, us, family, and our children. While everything is going on, we're going to be like the people. When Egypt was on fire and the diseases and the plagues were our people that were in Goshen, which was like right next to Egypt, they were safe. Same thing going to happen to the righteous remnant. While all the rest of us, we're going to be in a place in safety. Bearing fruit, substance sustained within ourselves, because Yahuwah is going to be with us. And this is what this work is about. That this work that I do is about that. That's why it was titled a long time ago, DFG End of Day Messenger. I'm sorry, we don't use ministry over here anymore. Messenger. We don't want to be associated with that. The ministries. We know what that's all about. Just call them they should call them the misery. So the ministries, they should call them the miseries now, because they're all miserable over there in their ministries. No, this is a workshop here. And all of us who are part of this workshop, God's going to bless us. He's going to watch over us. It's just like Jeremiah said, I know the plans that I have for you. Plan to do you no harm, plan to give you a hope, a plan to give you a future, to prosper you, or prosper you and give you a future. Daniel talked about in 12:1. Verse 2. It says some will come at judgment, some of us will come what? To everlasting life, and others everlasting shame and contempt. But he said, the righteous of us, we're going to shine like the remnant. God's going to bless us. We're going to have overflow. While they're starving and perishing, God's going to be blessing and rising us. Getting us ready for the new world to come. The splendor of the new world to come. The majesty of the new world to come. While they waste away here in destruction, and the heathens down in these underground cities, if you got one, hey, guess what? That's going to become your tomb. The book said the mountain's going to cave onto you. The earth's going to ground you. They're going to die down there. But they're doing it anyway because they know it's coming. That's why they're doing it. But so, yeah, they think that's how they're going to survive it. They're not going to survive it. But they're aware of it. That's why they're doing what they're doing. You're not. That's why you're aloof and out there still playing when you should be praying. And the minute the elder says something to you about your behavior, get in your feelings. Get in your feelings. Stay in your feelings. Don't come out of your feelings. Not going to change anything. This book teaches us to be selfless in our behavior. This book teaches us to honor Yahuwah with everything that we have. To show us that these things are not gods to us. And most of us, them, some of you possibly, are failing the test. And this is your warning to wake up, to open up your eyes, to open up your ears, to change your ways. Reconsider your ways, better said. You're investing into the air and you're going to inherit the wind. Truly, when he says trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, love him with everything that you have, with all your heart, your mind, your strength. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Brothers and sisters, that means something. That's not just idle words for you to recite, to say, and feel good about yourself. That's not going to help you. You got to put that into action. Everything that I've said to you has been honest. Everything I've said to you has been truth. And everything I've said to you, I said it because Yahuwah told me to say it. And don't worry about how they feel about it. Trust your voice. Pack up. Trouble is coming. Not running. It's a blessing. His protection is a shield around those who keep his words. What it said, Proverbs 30 and 5. Let's go there. Hallelujah. And then we're done. So I want to make sure y'all, no, we ain't running nowhere. We're being guided. The wicked flee when no one pursues. There ain't no wickedness going on with me. But I know one thing about it. I'm not staying in no desolate land because you don't believe. You can question Yahuwah all you want. But I won't hear you because I will be gone. Look at this. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 5. Every word of Yahuwah is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. So how you saying trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he is going to direct your path when you directing your path. Yahuwah said to give. He said to be honorable. He said to be righteous. He said to do what he asked you to do. He said, assemble ourselves, come before him, learn the Torah, post the Torah, train our children in the Torah, live by the Torah, bear the fruit that represent that you're being obedient to the Torah. And we're saying, no, we're going to do what we want to do, some of you. But yet you think this applies to you, and it doesn't. It only applies to who it applies to. I praise you. As the old saying goes, it ain't up to me. Shalom, Yasharel.